Health.com. I'm Alvin Washington.
The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of Money Radio staff, management, or advertisers, and do not represent an offer to buy or sell any securities. Some interviews heard on this program may be sponsored by the participants. It's time for Health Futures with Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth. This is Arizona's only show dedicated to providing you with expert advice on how to live a longer, healthier, and happier life. To learn more, call 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Bob Roth.
Good afternoon and welcome to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. My name is Michelle Cornelius and I am guest hosting our show today, filling in for Bob Roth. I work with Bob at Cypress HomeCare Solutions as the Director of Memory Care Programs. If you're just tuning in to the show for the first time today, Health Futures is a show about how our older adult population can live a longer, happier, healthier life. We've had the pleasure of bringing you this show for the past 4 years, and we accomplish this by putting together an incredible lineup of guests, and today is no different. I have on the show today Beth Mooney, who is West Region Chief Nursing Officer for Encompass Health, and Nancy Fitzpatrick, sorry, Nancy, who is a docent at the Phoenix Art Museum. Both of these gals, and myself included, are part of the Hospice of the Valley Dementia Fellowship Program. This program has established a fellowship for 2018 where 15 people were awarded monies to come up and to disseminate a project related specifically to dementia that is helping to expand the reach of the programming, doing something new and innovative in the field of dementia. And all three of us were some of the folks who were awarded this fellowship. Let me tell you a few of the things that these fellowships are doing this year. We have one of the people in our fellowship is studying inpatient palliative care units, getting buy-in to use non-pharmaceutical measures for dementia patients. Another is looking at pre-hospital care with communities, creating continuing education programs to teach first responders how to manage dementia. Others are building resources in the family medicine clinic to support caregivers, providing caregiver education and support through support groups, and education to other medical teams. Some folks are using curricula to educate nurses at Honor Health about dementia. Another is compiling a book of advice and frequently asked questions for families around dementia care and needs and the legal concerns. Some are reaching out to underserved dementia populations with short directive pamphlets that are culturally competent. Others are helping staff who care for people with developmental disabilities. Another is mindful movement for patients with dementia and caregivers, and developing earlier occupational therapy referrals for people who have dementia. Those are only a few of the projects that we're working on. And ladies, you are part of this program, as am I.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
Welcome, Nancy. Welcome, Beth.
Thank you.
So glad to have you here. How did you guys find out about this dementia fellowship program through Hospice of the Valley?
Well, I was introduced to the Hospice of the Valley Fellowship Program through the Phoenix Art Museum. So if I can just back up just a little bit, I am a docent at the Phoenix Art Museum, and I have been there since 2004, and a docent is just a volunteer. So we have a large group of volunteers who work in different areas at the museum. And since 2009, I have been involved with a program at the museum called the Arts Engagement Program, or we call it the AEP. And it is a program at the Phoenix Art Museum for individuals who have been diagnosed with dementia and Alzheimer's and their care partners. So these programs are interactive, and we use original art objects for engaging conversational gallery talks and studio experiences. The museum applied for the fellowship and was awarded, and they were thrilled to get awarded the fellowship. And this fellowship was to sponsor a change within a project for dementia. And since I have been involved with the Arts Engagement Program, I've been with it for 9 years now. We're actually going on our 10th year anniversary in the fall of this year. And they selected me to be a part of the Hospice of the Valley Fellowship Program to represent the Phoenix Art Museum. So that's kind of how I got involved.
That's wonderful, Nancy. And I have had the opportunity, since we've gotten to know each other through this fellowship program, to come observe that Arts Engagement Program, the AEP, at the Phoenix Art Museum. And we've talked about it here on the radio before, too. It's phenomenal. Really interacting with people who are diagnosed with dementia and their care partners in ways that reminisce into observing artwork, bring sensory experience into creating their own artwork. It's really a phenomenal program. So being able to expand that would be, I'm sure, wonderful for the community.
Yes, we're always looking at ways and how we can make the program grow and make it accessible for individuals with dementia and Alzheimer's out in our community. So it is a very interactive program. We provide a welcoming and safe environment and provide social environment as well when we're using the artworks to use to trigger personal stories and experiences.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, your fellowship program is looking at what specifically then?
We're looking specifically in ways in which the museum can meet the needs of the community, particularly those that are 65 plus and living with dementia, and how we can bring the program that we have on site at the museum off-site to them to make it more accessible.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to seeing the results of the project, too.
So are we.
Wonderful. And Beth, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Can you tell us a little bit about your history and what about this fellowship program interested you?
Yeah, well, as you said, I'm the West Region Chief Nursing Officer for Encompass Health. Formerly, you probably know it as Health South. And we have 127 hospitals in the country, and I oversee the nursing care in 16 of those hospitals in the West region. And one of the things, we actually had Jan Daughtery, who works with Hospice of the Valley, actually speak. I'm also president of the Arizona chapter of ARN, Association of Rehab Nurses, and we had Jan speak at one of our meetings. And after she spoke about Alzheimer's, I got interested in this project, and so then I actually then applied to be for the fellowship, and then got accepted. So
that's wonderful. You know, ladies, we are already coming up on our first break, and Beth, when we get back, I'd like to talk more about what your project is doing and the course that it's taking. All of these change projects are really, I think, going to make a big difference in the lives of people with dementia. We'll talk a little bit about my project, too, because I'm super excited to present that to folks. If you are looking for this show, you can find this and many others at cypresshomecare.com. And we will be back in just a few moments. Thank you.
Retired or retiring soon? Looking for real-world financial advice? Don't miss one of America's best daily radio shows on retirement investing, Mastering Money, Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. with accredited investment fiduciary and Kiplinger contributor Steve Jurich. Listen as Steve lays out the strategies that can simplify your life, increase your income, and grow your money. Don't worry. Retire happy. Tune in to Mastering Money every day at 8 right here on Money Radio. See you there.
The Army National Guard is committed to keeping the country safe and our communities secure. Composed of hundreds of thousands of citizen soldiers from all walks of life, the Guard is always ready to respond to local or national emergencies. We protect the homeland. We're always there when called upon, and in every state and territory, we stand guard for our communities. To learn more, log on to NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Arizona Army National Guard. Aired by the Arizona Broadcasters Association and this station.
Want to fly somewhere? Looking for cheap flights or cheap tickets? Then call. That's right. Call the low-cost airline travel hotline now for prices so low we can't publish them anywhere. Low Cost Airlines has all kinds of cheap travel deals. Fly domestically and save up to 75%. You can even fly internationally and save even more. Yes, fly anywhere in the world and save a lot of money on your plane tickets. We'll even save you money with cheap travel deals on hotels, rental cars, even complete travel packages. So don't book your tickets until you call us first for the absolute cheapest prices on U.S. and international airline tickets and hotels. Call right now for prices so low they can't be published. Travel experts are here 24/7 to help.
800-611-7394. 800-611-7394. 800-611-7394. That's 800-611-7394.
Get a free smart bed bundle and box spring or save up to $600 on a smart motion base. Visit Sleep System in Phoenix or BeautyRestRetailers.com.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. This is Michelle Cornelius filling in for Bob Roth from Cypress Home Care Solutions. If you're just joining us today on Health Futures, Taking Stock in You, I am here with several of the recipients of the Hospice of the Valley Dementia Fellowship. This fellowship was put into place in 2018 to create a dementia change project, and I'm here with Beth Mooney from Encompass Health and Nancy Fitzpatrick from the Phoenix Art Museum, and myself. I am also a recipient of this fellowship through Cypress Home Care Solutions. If you missed the first segment of the show, it can be found on the Cypress Home Care Solutions webpage at cypresshomecare.com. And before we left, we were starting to talk with Beth about her change project and what she's doing at Encompass Health. Beth, tell us what this project is that you've started on in 2018 and what you hope to see at the end.
Well, Michelle, I think one of the things when we talk about care of the patient in acute rehab, and acute rehab is actually a level of care that's provided to patients after they've experienced some sort of medical complexity condition or some catastrophic illness in their, such as like a multiple trauma, a stroke, that kind of thing, and they have some medical complex health issues, but they also have some functional issues. And our goal in acute rehab is to actually take care of those medical complex issues, but also get them to where they can function independently at home, or get them to a level where they can function at home. It may not be independent, but as independent as possible. And one of the things I see that could be very beneficial for an Alzheimer's patient is actually to have that access to the acute rehab in order to become more independent so they can go home. We know that patients with Alzheimer's do better in their own environment.
Yes.
And so if you're looking at our average length of stay in acute rehab is about 14 days. So if they have something happening to them like a stroke or some sort of medical complex problem that they're in the hospital for and they're not quite ready to go home, if we can get them into acute rehab and then get them where they can function as independent as possible and get them home, they're more likely to stay in their home. And so that's what I want to use. I want to use this money, this grant that we've gotten, in order to educate our clinicians in acute rehab on how to deal with Alzheimer's patients. Most of the issues that we find that cause the most stress for Alzheimer's patients are behavioral issues, right?
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of memory issues, there's behavior things that occur, and I don't think our clinicians in rehab are really trained in how to deal with that. And if you look at the statistics of Alzheimer's, I was pulling them off of the Alzheimer's Association website.
Right. For anybody who wants to find those, they're on alz.org.
Right.
And that facts and figures.
Right.
Yes.
And 5.7 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's today in 2018. And by 2050, it's going to be up to 14 million people. And so I think it's just a group, a clientele that we have to address. We really have to look at this group of patients and what can we do to make their hospital stays less stressful for them and try to get them home.
Yes.
So my money is going to be used in training clinicians on how to deal with Alzheimer's patients from a behavioral standpoint, and also looking at making our hospitals more Alzheimer's environmental friendly, because there are certain things you can do that make an environment more welcoming to an Alzheimer's patient.
Absolutely there are, and you're right that it's so hard to be away from home for the person who has any type of a dementia diagnosis. And that just adds to the confusion. And if you're trying to go through a rehab program, added confusion can actually detract from healing.
Exactly. Right. Right. And so many times we want to try to reason with dementia patients and try to make them say, okay, really try to get them to listen to what we have to say. But really, we need to kind of get into their world.
Right.
And we need to kind of sometimes not try to reason with them, but accept what they're saying.
Right, absolutely. And, that's both Beth and Nancy here have helped me some with my project, which is a communication skill building training for professionals, for caregivers, through Cypress HomeCare Solutions, for the community, for family members, using improv skills for those communication techniques. And both of these ladies have come to the comedy studio with me. I've been at Stir Crazy Comedy Club. I went for every week for about 3 months to take some improv classes one-on-one and learn how we can relate these skills for caring for a person who has dementia. When you talk about living in their world, that's what I'm loving about my project and learning, is that if the person says, the sky is magenta, then we say, yes, the sky is magenta, and it matches the flower on your shirt. And we just go along with it instead of trying to reason with them.
Right. And that's what I think so many people try to do. They try to reason with them, and that's not always the appropriate thing to do.
Right. It's so hard with dementia because the brain isn't working the way it once did, and we've always known the person to be a certain way, and we have to learn new ways of communicating because they're not able to learn new ways or to adapt their thinking and their style anymore.
Right.
And that's one thing, Michelle, about your project is we had a lot of fun doing improv, but from that came a lot of learning skills that we can be doing and taking it into our own projects on how to better communicate with individuals to be able to meet their needs and the challenges that they're going through.
And Nancy, I know you train your docents to
Yes.
communicate especially with folks who have dementia.
Right.
And what a great example that is for their loved one who's there attending with them as well. It can teach that family member new skills just by virtue of watching and observing somebody else do it.
Right. One of our goals and objectives is for the docents to be able to model for the care partner how to better communicate and have those active listening skills with their partner to make home life a little easier perhaps, or a little less stressful in their daily life.
I think that we find people who are cognitively intact. We tend to say things like, remember? I hear from a lot of therapists even, well, remember you're supposed to do these exercises today. Or from family members, remember you need to eat your meal. Remember. And the brain that has dementia is impacted by dementia can't always remember that way.
Mm-hmm. Right. And we're very careful with our arts engagement program about avoiding those type of words because we don't want to agitate them anymore, because we want it to make it a fun experience for them, a social experience where they feel comfortable being able to have the conversations with their loved ones at the museum.
And I've watched those interactions at the museum. They really are amazing. I've watched some docents were talking about a project that looked like just pins on a wall. And they introduced to the group that it was supposed to be, the artist had intended it as a river. And the engagement then was talking about, what rivers have you seen? Where have you been on a river? What do you think the longest river in the United States is? And they had handouts that went along with that and were really discussing and talking. And it didn't matter if what the person says was reality-based or not. If the person said that I was on the Nile River on a flatbed boat and we were attacked by poisonous arrows,
we go along on the adventures
right.
with them. Right. So that's a prime example when I mentioned earlier in the segment of how we use art objects to trigger personal stories and experiences. And we tap into emotional memories that way.
And I think the natural response from people is to want to correct people. Mm-hmm. And with patients with dementia, you really need to shy away from that, and you really need to go on that journey with them, wherever that journey is going to lead you.
Right. We can be so much more successful if we go along with that, because if we do want to, in rehab, get them walking and strong again so that they can go home, then we can say, well, show me how you did this.
Right.
Show me how you line dance. And we can do it in a different way without the arguing that has to go along with trying to bring them back to our reality.
Right. And trying not to keep them in our schedule, but
right.
going along with them in whatever schedule they want.
Right.
Yeah.
And it is hard to reschedule somebody who's, if they've always worked at night,
mm-hmm.
they're always going to be up now still at night. We can't reprogram the body the way that we might have done at one point in time. Absolutely.
Well, we save ourselves also a lot of stress if we give in to their experience and say, okay, this is what it is, and mm-hmm. just go with the flow. And then your depression, your stress levels then decrease if you're a care partner.
Right. And I find that very often for family care partners is that the stress that they feel then lends to their own personal health issues and their own personal anxiety that goes along with being a care partner. We're coming up at the end of our second segment already. And we have started talking about some of the dementia change projects through the Hospice of the Valley Dementia Fellowship that we've received. I'm here with Beth Mooney and Nancy Fitzpatrick. This is Michelle Cornelius from Cypress HomeCare Solutions. You can find this segment and many others at cypresshomecare.com. And when we return, we will continue this discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One of the things that I want to point out before we go real quick, Hospice of the Valley has all this information at hov.org, so you can find information there. I want to get that in real quick before we end.
We pause for a look at the world's news. Then we're back with Money Talk. We're Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM.
Special report, North Korea summit back on. President Trump says the summit with North Korea that he abruptly canceled will go on as scheduled on June 12th in Singapore. The president adds the relationship Washington has with Pyongyang is starting to thaw.
Well, I think they're okay. I mean, I think they're good. Is it like the relationships we have with a couple of other countries? Probably not, right? But I think the relationship we have right now with North Korea is as good as it's been in a long time.
Correspondent Michelle Kaczynski reports the talks on denuclearization may take multiple sessions.
As much as they've been saying that there is progress, they've also been saying there's a lot of work that remains to be done. There's still a lot to do. This could maybe be 2 or 3 meetings, not just one meeting.
President Trump made the announcement about the summit after welcoming a top North Korean official to the White House this afternoon. I'm Ann Cates.
I'm Captain Obvious, and Hotels.com rewards me basically everywhere I stay. So why am I currently skipping stones with 4 locals and 1 grizzly bear outside this Riverside Lodge in Portland? Because Hotels.com lets me do me. And because, honestly, the bear just kind of joined in, and now we're afraid that if we stop, he'll get angry. He can smell our fear. Hotels.com. You do you and get rewarded.
All right, everyone. You're probably doing something right now like working or fishing or driving or building a 3-story doghouse. So I'll keep this short. Peanuts, caramel. That's what's in a Payday bar. Simple. Nuts, that's power food. Caramel, that's just plain good. Fits in your hand, good. Easy to open, great. Easy to eat, even greater. It gives you the energy to keep doing whatever you're doing. And it tastes darn good, too. All right, good talk. Grab a Payday bar and get back to doing. Payday. Get to it.
There are many who call themselves money experts. You're listening to Money Radio, a quarter century of bringing you the best in money experts every day.
Bill Gunderson's nationwide Best Stocks radio show is now on Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM. Every morning from 9 to 10 AM, professional money manager Bill Gunderson will talk about the economy, markets, and the best stocks now. Bill Gunderson is also the inventor of the Best Stocks Now app and the writer of the weekly Best Stocks Now newsletter. If you like to invest in the markets, this is the show for you. You will not want to miss one episode. Visit GundersonCapital.com for more info. That's GundersonCapital.com.
Warning, don't let your business get left behind in what is likely to be the biggest economic boom in recent history. If you need to build for your business to grow, call General Steel today for a pre-engineered steel building designed for your needs. No wasted space. Steel prices are expected to rise, but you can still lock in your price on a General Steel building. And you can still save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. As much as half. But you must call now. If you need a church building, office, warehouse, manufacturing space, retail space, or more, call General Steel today. You can still get the General's 50-year structural warranty and General Steel quality, all at a price you can afford. So don't let rising steel prices put your project out of reach and stop you from making your company great.
800-965-1293. 800-965-1293. 800-965-1293. That's 800-965-1293.
The following update is for drivers who pay too much for car insurance due to DUIs, DWIs, tickets, or anything else. Our company specializes in low-cost SR22 auto insurance. We know that mistakes happen and offer free quotes for very affordable auto insurance meant specifically for you, the overpaying high-risk driver. The quote is free, and we'll handle the filing so you can start saving money. Call 800-749-2984. 800-749-2984. 800-749-2984.
There's fresh, and then there's In-N-Out Burger Fresh. Come see your made-to-order burgers being freshly prepared before your eyes and taste the In-N-Out difference.
Bruce Vail with Your Money Now. The Internal Revenue Service plans to spend nearly $300 million to update 140 computer systems to help it implement the new tax law. Those IT costs and other back-office operations will consume more than 90% of the money Congress is giving the IRS for implementation. The agency is also bracing for a 17% increase in phone calls, is organizing 40,000 hours of training, and is planning to revise 450 forms and publications. Today is National Donut Day, and there are plenty of places where you can get a free one. The list includes Krispy Kreme, Walmart, and Duck Donuts, where you can get a free sinker just for asking. At Dunkin' Donuts and Cumberland Farms, you can get a free donut with the purchase of a beverage. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 174 points. The Nasdaq is ahead 96. That's your money now.
Thinking about life insurance? What if you could make one free phone call and learn your best price from nearly a dozen highly rated, price-competitive companies? Well, that's exactly what happens when you call SelectQuote Life. For example, George is 40. He was getting sky-high quotes from other companies because he takes meds to control his blood pressure. But when I shopped around, I found him a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $25 a month. I'm SelectQuote agent Dan Savino. And believe me, if SelectQuote isn't shopping for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-244-6060. That's 800-244-6060. 800-244-6060. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. This is Michelle Cornelius from Cypress HomeCare Solutions, filling in for Bob Roth today. If you're just joining us, I am here with some fellows of the Hospice of the Valley Fellowship, Dementia Fellowship Program, Beth Mooney and Nancy Fitzpatrick. And we've been talking about some dementia change projects that we are starting off here in 2018 through this Hospice of the Valley Fellowship Program. During the break, we were talking about how the Phoenix area, especially in Arizona, has been a great place for collaboration and working on dementia projects overall, really looking towards the future. You know, in Arizona, Alzheimer's disease is the fourth leading cause of death. And because it's a retirement state, because we have lots of folks who are coming here who are older, and age is the number one risk factor for dementia, we're going to see that number grow. So these projects are wonderful for potential options for the future. And we were talking, Arizona has a state plan on through the Arizona Alzheimer's Task Force for folks who are facing Alzheimer's disease and related disorders. This plan is available on azlinks.gov, azlinks.gov, and there are 5 goals of the state plan. The first, maximizing public awareness and understanding. The second is developing new and enhancing existing supports for people with Alzheimer's disease and their families. Third, expand the dementia-capable workforce in Arizona. Fourth, advance and disseminate research. And fifth, create a dementia-capable system in Arizona. And all of the change projects that we've talked about so far fit so well into this state plan. We also are working with Hospice of the Valley, like we said. They are in the process. If you look at their website, hov.org, they have so much information for people living with dementia that are not needing hospice yet. There's a palliative program that helps people live well. They're also in the process of building a new dementia campus that will include a palliative care unit, an assisted living home, adult day center, even early childhood education center in the same space as the adult day center, in the same, so that they can have intergenerational activities going on, a dementia education center, memory cafes, things like that will happen in that new space. We have Banner Alzheimer's Institute here that has some wonderful research and programs both for people diagnosed and their families. And I know that you ladies have been involved with some of these other programs and processes as well.
Yes, Hospice of the Valley is a long-established leader in dementia care and education, and they have collaborated on occasion with the Phoenix Smart Art Museum on various programming, and also through Banner Alzheimer's Institute, we receive training and workshops through them on how to better communicate with our individuals that are coming into our program. So the Phoenix Art Museum sees supporting the state initiative plan by providing support programs, not just for individuals diagnosed with dementia, but also with their care partners. And a care partner can be anyone from a family member to a friend to a professional caregiver. So they help rekindle those relationships and those support groups, which and it helps prevent isolation. I think that's one of the main problems with individuals and their care partners who are facing dementia is they become isolated. And these support groups, especially ones that the museum provides, gives them a place to be able to socialize in a safe, welcoming environment. But we're also wanting to be able to take this program and support out into the communities where they are, because we know that there are challenges for them to be able to get on site, and we want to make the museum accessible and for a diverse group of population, especially for 65 plus and those who are diagnosed with dementia.
And I'm so glad you brought up social support, because we think a lot of times about emotional support and how do we emotionally support the care partner or the person who's newly diagnosed. And the Alzheimer's Association has some early stage support groups. There are other locations around town that have early stage support groups, but that social support is so important too. And I heard a statistic recently through the Banner Alzheimer's Institute that said social isolation is equivalent to smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day.
Wow.
And if we said to somebody, here are 2 packs of cigarettes, no, I wouldn't do that. But people still isolate, and it has the same health risks. Not with lung cancer and things, but with social isolation can increase stressors. It can increase depression. It can increase anxiety, all of the things that can go along with isolation and how hard that is on your health. The thing that I hear from families that I work with often is how hard it is to continue to socialize when a person has mid-stage, especially dementia, because people ask the same questions over and over. Some of the things that they do or say may not be as accepted socially as they once were. The care partner tends to become embarrassed about things that are said. It's very hard to be in a place where a person wants to stand up and leave or doesn't know why they're there. Noise can be overwhelming. You know, Beth, you talked earlier about changing environments for people who are diagnosed, and that can be very important to watch the types of lighting that are there or shadows or things like that. And so we see people isolate more and more and more because it's harder and harder to be out in public. Folks spouses who say that they have a hard time when their loved one needs a restroom, and in a restaurant to go into a restroom, and now they have troubles in the restroom, and they're embarrassed if they, as the opposite gender care partner, need to go into the restroom to offer help and support, or people get lost on the way out of the restroom. And so it's wonderful when you have groups like they are doing at the Phoenix Art Museum, where others are there and they understand, and they all support each other through this process.
Right. In the Arts Engagement Program, we really try to work closely with Banner's Alzheimer's Institute and Hospice of the Valley to be able to maybe meet those challenges and those needs when they are at the museum. We invite them to come and be a part of our program during normal business hours, but we pick a day and a time where the visitor attendance might be a little lower, so it's not such a big crowd. We train docents to specifically be in certain areas of the museum, gallery space-wise. We know that lighting and noise and foot traffic can create anxiety. So we try to really be mindful and pay attention to those type of needs when we are presenting our programs and working with individuals with dementia.
And creative aging is such a term that we're hearing more and more these days, that when it's not just retiring and sitting at home and watching television, we want to continue to stay active and engaged, and starting to draw upon that creative part of our brains when we might have been in business for years or might have been raising children and not able to be as creative as we once were, is something that I'm hearing a lot more of.
Yeah, and studies have shown, and from my own experience being a part of the program, is that art is very life enriching. There's a lot of benefits to being able to participate in programs like these.
Whether you have dementia or not.
Correct.
Right. Even the healthy brain.
Well, and I think you want to focus on what that person liked in their younger years. And so I think we've seen in some cases where patients have we've identified things that they could do that we didn't know that they could do, right? I mean, talents they had.
Oh, I had one wife who was furious because her husband suddenly started cooking all of these wonderful meals and said, I cooked for 40 years and he never once lifted a finger in the kitchen, and now look at what I found out he can do.
Right. So, and that's going to actually keep them healthier too.
Right. And when you're talking about trying to get back home, some of those are incentives to be able to get back home. Let's help you do this so that when you get home, meals are easier to prepare, or that you're looking forward to something fun, something that excites you.
Right. I think it's important that we know about all these community resources so that caregivers and patients have somewhere to go to keep them, active.
And that has been one of the best parts of this fellowship for me, is learning about all of the things that are already happening out in our community and the wonderful projects that are being done. Being able to know with confidence that I can refer someone to another location and they will understand dementia. They have people there who can help them through the process. Some of these community projects that, like the Phoenix Arts program, that I was not aware of before.
Well, and the 15, there's 15 of us, so that's 15 different avenues that we have that are working on programs for dementia patients, and those were just the 15 that were chosen. There were a lot more that applied, so there's a lot of resources out there that we're just now beginning
and a lot of great
identify.
People, a lot of great folks out there.
Right. Well, we're coming on the end of our third segment here. This is Michelle Cornelius from Cypress HomeCare Solutions, here with Nancy Fitzpatrick and Beth Mooney. We will be back in just a short period of time, finishing up talking about the Hospice of the Valley Dementia Fellowships that we've all received and what dementia care in Arizona looks like in the future.
You've made your financial plan, but are you prepared for an emergency?
Hello, I'm Mo Ansari, host of Market Wrap and president of Compact Asset Management, where we focus on a holistic wealth management approach. That means helping you find the right investments and planning for the future. But the best plan in the world can be ineffective if you or your loved ones can't access the information quickly. Do you know your account numbers? And where are your insurance policies? Who do you want to take care of your children if something happens to you? From a natural disaster to a death in the family, every household needs an emergency plan in order to cope and recover. Dial pound 250 on your cell phone and use the keyword Talk to Mo to get your personal financial information packet, which can help you keep all of the most important details together for easy access. Again, from your cell phone, dial pound 250, use the keyword Talk to Mo.
Compact Asset Management is a registered investment advisor. Funds custodian, Fidelity Institutional Wealth Services, member FINRA SIPC.
My mom's a breast cancer survivor. The United Breast Cancer Foundation saved her life. Their free breast cancer exam caught the cancer early, and it saved her life. But now the foundation needs your help so they can continue offering free or low-cost breast screening exams, saving more women's lives. Help them by donating your car, whether it's running or not. They'll provide fast, free 24-hour pickup, and you receive a charitable tax deduction, plus the great feeling you'll get knowing your donated car is going to help save more lives. Just call 800-475-6040 to set the wheels in motion. They take cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs, running or not. Call 800-475-6040. The United Breast Cancer Foundation needs your help, and your donation could literally save women's lives, helping them catch breast cancer early, like they did with my mom. Donate today. 800-475-6040. 800-475-6040.
The only thing more interesting than what you've heard is what you haven't. Curious? Watch Scientology Network on DirecTV Channel 320 or go to Scientology.tv.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back to the final segment of Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. This is Michelle Cornelius from Cypress HomeCare Solutions. We've been talking with some of my fellow fellows from the Hospice of the Valley Dementia Fellowship Program about our dementia change projects. I don't want to leave the show without everybody getting their information out on how to participate in the programs that are going on. Nancy, what's going on now with the Phoenix Art Museum's Art Engagement Program, and if people are interested, how do they get in touch with you?
Sure, yes. We are so excited that we are able to offer two sessions every year. So we have a spring and a fall session. We'll be starting our fall programming on August the 23rd, 2018, and that will run over 18 weeks. And participants will come every other Thursday, so they'll have 8 meetings per session. And we meet on Thursdays from 1 to 3 in the afternoon. Each of those sessions consist of about a 45-minute to 60-minute interactive facilitated tour with 2 studio experiences where they get to create with a working artist. And we have great connections in the studio and lots of fun. Participants look really forward to coming for those studio experiences and engaging in the in-gallery talks. In order to participate in the program, all you need to do is contact the Phoenix Art Museum. And you can do that by either reaching us at our phone number, which is 602-666-7104. Again, that's 602-666-7104, or visiting us at our website at phoenixart.org and getting more information about the Arts Engagement Program, and we can get you registered. There is a small fee, but within that small fee that covers a luncheon that we do every first session. It provides for all art materials, and it also covers museum membership, because we want to encourage them to come and visit the museum on the days that they're not attending the Arts Engagement Program.
And I look forward at the end of the project to seeing how this is going to be taking out to folks in their own, wherever they are in their own environment. So I think that being able to expand on what you're doing is really going to have an impact on people and the quality of life at home with dementia.
Right. I would like, and I know the museum would like, to really develop this arts engagement program to take off-site, to making it accessible for those individuals. So look for us in the near future, and we want to be able to reach out and be a part of your life and let the museum be a part of theirs. And by expanding these creative initiatives at the museum, it's really a potential to create a positive change and an impact on dementia programming and the organization as a whole. And so, as Martha Stewart always says, that's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
That's
yes,
a good thing.
Nancy, thank you. And Beth, I know people have options for acute rehabilitation, and I'm so glad to hear what you are doing for dementia-specific care, because that can be one of the most stressful times for people who are coming out of the hospital, who need some rehabilitative stays. If people are looking for acute rehab stays, how do they get in touch with Encompass Health? How do they find out more?
The best way would be to go to our website, which is www.encompasshealth.com. We have 6 hospitals in Arizona, 3 in the Phoenix market, 2 in Tucson, and 1 in Yuma. But you can get any information from there. That would be the best way. And so, like I said, acute rehab is for those patients who are in the hospital now. They've had some sort of catastrophic illness or medical issue. They're not quite ready to go home. They still have some medical issues, but really functionally is what they need to focus on. And that's where we want to help them. We want to help get them home. We get 80% of our patients home once they come to us. And so we now currently see dementia patients along with all of our other patients with strokes and fractured hips and cardiac patients and stuff like that. But because of the increase that we're seeing in the number of dementia patients, my goal is to really just create that dementia-friendly environment. So to make it less stressful for them, just how we've created a center of excellence for strokes and for pulmonary patients, I want to create that same center of excellence for dementia patients.
And that's wonderful. For years, I've been doing memory care for over 15 years. And it was at one point in time where we were telling folks who had dementia post-hospital stay, it's better to go home and deal with less therapy in the home, because acute rehab just doesn't always understand why the person is up at 3 a.m. trying to get out of bed and walking around. And the nurse is saying, no, you need to stay in bed and push your button. Don't get up without me. And so to have the center of excellence that you're developing with Encompass, to understand dementia so that the response isn't no, stay in bed, push your button for the person who doesn't remember, is going to be so impactful on the long-term health of folks who are diagnosed with dementia.
Right, because our goal is to get them home and getting them able to function at home independently for as long as possible.
That's
and
wonderful.
Hopefully attending one of our programs.
Exactly.
Your programs.
Right.
And a final comment with my program too, I'm working on communication skills. I don't want to scare people by talking about improv techniques, because it really is just learning a few games so that in your head, when you're interacting with a person, you'll be able to live in their world, to not try to correct them. And so I will be taking my project with Cypress out to public come 2019. It's a skill building training. If you're interested, you can contact us at Cypress HomeCare Solutions at 602-264-8009. There's this information along with a lot of other dementia-specific information on the Cypress HomeCare website at cypresshomecaresolutions.com. We are coming up at the end of our time together. I really want to thank you ladies for both being here and sharing about your dementia change projects. Thank you so much for the work you're doing for the dementia community, for those families who are affected, and for the people themselves who are diagnosed. And a big shout out and thank you to Hospice of the Valley's Dementia Fellowship Program for allowing us to all do this and collaborate through 2018. Have a wonderful weekend and enjoy the nice weather Phoenix is having right now.
There's no place like home. You've been listening to Bob Roth's Health Futures. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call Cypress HomeCare Solutions at 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Or visit cypresshomecare.com. Be sure to join Health Futures with Bob Roth every Friday at noon, right here on Money Radio 1510 and 105.3 FM.
Gunderson's nationwide Best Stocks radio show is now on Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM. Every morning from 9 to 10 a.m., professional money manager Bill Gunderson will talk about the economy, markets, and the best stocks now. Bill Gunderson is also the inventor of the Best Stocks Now app and the writer of the weekly Best Stocks Now newsletter. If you like to invest in the markets, this is the show for you. You will not want to miss one episode. Visit GundersonCapital.com for more info. That's GundersonCapital.com.
Money Radio 1510
and 105.3 FM.
KFNN Mesa, Phoenix, and K287BX Mesa. You're listening to the Valley's only source for full-time financial news and money talk on the radio, Money Radio. Let's take a look at the numbers. Dow up 216 points at 24,631. S&P up 29 at 2734, and NASDAQ up 110 at 7552.
When people want to talk about money, this is the place they come to. And there's more on the way after this break for the latest news. And we begin